Hello and welcome back to the Ambassadors of Gaming. I'm one in your army of hosts, Ambassador Michael, and today I'm going to discuss with you another game that we didn't get a chance to review, so it's one of the best games of the generation. We are handpicking some of the best games in the lead up to the fall 2020 of next gen, and kind of documenting some stuff we didn't get a chance to go over, a more in-depth look at some of the games that came out throughout the generation. Today's game is Super Mario Party for the Nintendo Switch, the first Mario Party entry on the hybrid console. This was one of the best games of the generation for me because it provided so much enjoyment. I've spent, I believe, I'm over 100 hours now with my wife. We've played this game a ton. It's one of the only games her and I actually will play a lot together because of the more fair competitive nature of it. Nintendo did a great job in this particular game rebranding and re-identifying it and kind of allowing it to have some other options as well instead of just the traditional board games. While I still think that the board game maps are still the best that the series has to offer, I do like that they included some new things. They included these rhythm games, they included a mini game board that allows for some single player type stuff, and then they also included team play and a raft. So they have game modes that encourage more cooperation and not just competitiveness in the game itself, and so it allows you to play with people in a more friendly environment first before you go and you play the game together in a competitive setting versus each other. And I think that's a nice touch, and it kind of allows people to become familiar with the mini games and kind of what they need to do and how to play the game and deal with motion controls, because Mario Party is a very beginner-friendly game, typically. It's how a lot of people get introduced to video games. It helps a lot of people who don't play video games very often kind of socialize with those who do and kind of bridge that gap for a lot of us to interact with people who don't play games often. And I think this iteration actually does that the best. I know when speaking with Chris, the previous Mario Party was similar in terms of dealing with a board game, but they put everybody on one car to move along the board all together, so you actually had to pay attention as to what was happening every turn because it affected everyone, I guess. I'm not too familiar because I didn't play that variation, but I was very excited for Super Mario Party. My only real complaint with the game is that there were too few boards. The classic boards. There were only 4 in this game, the least amount out of any game so far. The game uses a lot of reused assets and things like that, so it seemed like the game may have been put together in a quick fashion. It did also at one point have a very, very long streak of not being patched. I think it finally received 1 patch in the year it's been out. It might be at 2 now, but so the game is very, very close to perfect in terms of performance. My major complaint was just that there were not more boards. I wish they had put out DLC to include more mini games and more boards. If I have to guess, I'm assuming they're saving that and they're just gonna make a second one, which I'm totally okay with. I'm totally on board with. If they announce a sequel, I'll be there. I'll buy it day one. Me and the wife will be having a load of fun with it. But it's, to me, the best game, one of the best games of the generation, because it bridges this gap and it allows me to play games with people who don't like to typically play games in a competitive setting. My wife doesn't really enjoy playing games at all. Typically speaking, she has a Switch, and I think the last thing she played was the Spyro collection, and she kind of tapped out on the third one, and I haven't seen her touch it in months at this point. And the last time, I saw her really pick up and play with a Switch was when we played Mario Party while I was gathering footage for this, and it's just consistently so much fun every time I play it. Even if I lose, I'm very competitive. I don't like to lose. I find it very frustrating, but I think that they just found a way to balance the game where it's competitive and also the random nature of it allows for people who don't necessarily have the same affinity with games and dealing with kind of what that's like to play them and enjoy them with people who do. And it kind of sets a fair playing field. And I think that's one of the things you have to get right in a game like that, because otherwise you're just going to have people who play video games all the time dominate these types of games. And it defeats the whole purpose of a party game, getting together and playing a game together and having fun, if, it's entirely based on skill. So please let us know if you've played Mario Party on Switch, what your experiences may have been like. If not, let us know if this intrigues you to pick it up and play with your friends, family, loved ones. It's definitely much more enjoyable when you play it with others, though you can play it by yourself and have fun. I do believe, I think it's the most underrated of the kind of party games that they've put out on Switch this generation. And it really, I think, encapsulates Nintendo's family kind of core ideas in a way that doesn't compromise anything like they typically do, so for motion controls or whatever. So let us know what you think, and we would love to hear from you. Of course, like, share, subscribe, all that kind of stuff is extremely helpful. We appreciate every little bit. We of course have a Patreon if you would like to subscribe there as well, get extra content, goodies, things like that. You could do so over at the Patreon. All the links are in the description. So thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it. Super Mario Party, best game of the generation. Bye.